Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, July 5th. This is Gina Palma. Over the next 2 days, we won't have any significant increases to fire potential, with just dry and typical afternoon breezes expected across the Great Basin. However, on Sunday, as another area of low pressure approaches the region, we will see winds increase once again across Nevada and Utah. The strongest winds will be over southern and eastern Nevada into western and parts of northern Utah. We'll also continue to have a few isolated or widely scattered showers and thunderstorms through the weekend over parts of central Idaho. Over the last 24 hours, we had scattered amounts of lightning over far northeast Nevada up into Idaho and northern Utah. These thunderstorms did produce precipitation. Most areas saw between about 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch of precipitation, with some local higher amounts over northeast Nevada into northern Utah. Great Basin fire activity was increased yesterday with the July 4th holiday. You can see the new fire starts along the central and northern Utah mountains, also down into southwest Utah and into southern Nevada. Over the last 7 days, we've only had light amounts of precipitation, not including what we saw yesterday, across parts of Idaho into Utah and western Wyoming. And this precipitation over the last 2 weeks has been well below normal across most of the Great Basin. The only exception is over eastern Utah, where precipitation was near normal in small locations. Looking at our current ERCs, they have been on the rise over the southern half of the Great Basin that has stayed drier over the last week to 2 weeks, and ERCs are now between the 50th and 70th percentile, with some areas between the 70th and 80th percentile. ERCs did come down a little bit over parts of southern Idaho into northern Nevada with this latest cold front that brought some precipitation, but ERCs should continue to rise as we go through the weekend into early next week. If we look at some of our ERC charts over the northern and both southern half of the basin, ERCs have now increased to near normal. They have been on the steady climb with the warm and dry weather we've seen across the area. They did come down a little bit in the far north with this latest cold front, but again, that should rebound very quickly. Live fuel moistures have also been on the decrease and are generally approaching normal in many locations. Some areas of western Nevada, live fuel moisture has dropped to just below normal. The satellite loop from this morning shows this area of low pressure and cold front that has moved through the Great Basin is now lifting northeast up into the northern Rockies and northern plains. Therefore, we will have a decrease in showers and thunderstorms today, but we still will have some isolated showers and thunderstorms over parts of Idaho. Otherwise, a return to typical afternoon breezes. However, this next trough of low pressure in the Pacific Northwest will drop south, and this will allow winds to increase as we approach Sunday. Looking at the moisture field for later this afternoon, you can still see some lingering moisture in the northern part of the Great Basin, and again, this will allow for some showers and thunderstorms once again this afternoon. However, generally, low to moderate fire potential is expected across the Great Basin. You can see generally the drier areas are over southern areas and also over western Nevada. Still over central and eastern Idaho into Wyoming, low fire potential will continue. Looking at the relative humidity and wind gusts for today, you can see generally dry conditions with single digit to low teen RHs across Nevada and Utah in the lower elevations, with again more moderate winds of about 10 to 15 miles per hour. As we move into Saturday, that area of low pressure drops a little bit further south into the northwest, but still winds remain about the same on Saturday with southwest winds across the Great Basin and dry conditions. And again, low to moderate fire potential, but you can see more areas of western and northern Nevada are drying out along with southern Idaho again. Relative humidity is very similar on Saturday. We will see a little bit of a decrease in the higher elevations, however, still generally single digits to low teens. Winds do start to increase on Saturday, but gusts should still remain between about 20 and 25 miles per hour. So again, a little bit stronger than a typical breeze, but still below criteria for any type of high risk or red flag warning. As we move into Sunday, however, this trough of low pressure moves a little bit further east and winds will increase more significantly. So we do have some high risk for low relative humidity and gusty winds over southern into eastern Nevada and also into western Utah. Winds will also increase along the Sierra front, but wind gusts should remain right around 30 miles per hour. You can see again the relative humidity does not change a whole lot on Sunday, but you can see how the wind gusts do increase with those strongest winds over western Utah into far southeast Nevada, but again also increasing along the Sierra front and over parts of southern and eastern Idaho. Forecast amounts of precipitation will be light over the next few days and just tied to very spotty thunderstorm activity over northern and far eastern sides of the Great Basin. As we move into the early part of next week, we will have that trough of low pressure moving eastward across northern Idaho. This will continue with breezy winds across the region, but they should be lighter than what we'll see on Sunday, so we don't have any high risk issued at this time, but just expect breezy winds and dry conditions to continue, with again the driest spots of the basin over western and southern areas. On Tuesday, we start to see another trough of low pressure off the west coast, but we're also starting to see the ridge of high pressure start to build over the Four Corners region, so we will see temperatures increasing along with continued dry weather. We will also continue with those breezy winds, especially over western and northern areas. Again, low to moderate fire potential, but you can see more areas of central and eastern Nevada and also northern Utah are now starting to dry out more significantly. On Wednesday, very similar conditions. That high pressure over the Four Corners continues to strengthen with low to moderate fire potential, and very similar conditions on Thursday, but you can really start to see how that ridge of high pressure takes hold over the Four Corners region. So we will start to see some moisture start to move up associated more with the monsoon as we get later next week over parts of southern and eastern areas of the Great Basin. We'll continue to watch that to see how much moisture gets pushed north, whether we're looking at a period of drier thunderstorms or whether these thunderstorms will transition to wet very quickly. 7-day precipitation total isn't really a whole lot different than the 3 days, since most of those thunderstorms are occurring over the next few days over central Idaho. The 8 to 14-day outlook still shows above normal temperatures with below normal precipitation. However, again, we will likely start to see some moisture potentially move up into southern areas or eastern areas of the Great Basin as we move towards this July 12th to 18th time period, so we'll continue to monitor that. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.